Pink has become the color of rebellion in this movie. Wear whatever the F you want, no matter what age you are. Has a cameo of Brendan Fraser. Maybe I am overanalyzing a dumb 90s movie. Let me have my fun. Just give me 5 minutes. See if I can change your mind. Okie pokey weirdos, I'm Rev, and I thoroughly enjoy wearing unusual outfits. And I feel like we've reached a time where healthy, creative self-expression is much needed. So I would love to introduce y'all to a movie that put that idea in my head and helped push me towards expressing myself through clothing and finding things that fit my personality. Hopefully, this movie can help inspire you to do the same. Please welcome in the movie Son-in-Law. Son-in-Law is a Pauly Shore movie, and if you don't know who Pauly Shore is, yes you do.
A little smoking.
Have you at least seen the Goofy movie? If you have not, I am so sorry, your childhood must have been terrible. This movie came out in 1993, and it also stars people like Carla, I need to look up her name, I know her as the mom from Spy Kids, and Patrick, most people are going to recognize him from The Sandlot.
You're killing me, Smalls.
For a quick summary of the movie, a girl from South Dakota, where is she from? Double check. I think it's Georgia. South Dakota, living in a more farmlands kind of area, moves to California for school. Then on Thanksgiving break, 'tis the season y'all, she decides to bring her bestie from school home with her for the break because she didn't want him to be alone at school during this family get-together time. Our first scene opens with our main character, Rebecca, giving her speech to her graduating class. I love that you can see the year that this movie released on the graduation poster behind her. This year is also important because it'll help emphasize what is unusual clothing for back then as compared to now. While we don't get a whole lot of her outfits just yet, she is wearing pearls for this speech, so it does give a little bit of essence of who her character is. Adding a touch of elegance to her, as well as having her hair long, flowing, and loose. When the family gets together to take a picture for the graduation day, this image defines the family so well. Walter, the father, is trying to direct Rebecca's boyfriend Travis in how to take the picture and how to work the camera. Mom, Connie, is fussing over Rebecca's hair. Rebecca's trying to make herself look pretty for the picture. Rebecca's brother, Zach, is using his clothing to express himself, very much so, yes. And then Pappy, the grandfather, is standing off to the side, big cheesy grin, and eyes closed. The best part about his eyes being closed for this picture is he actually hears just about everything in this movie. He is largely aware of just about everything that happens, but says nothing. And now we're about to get a wardrobe change for Rebecca, so I need something a little less me and more of what her character type is as of the coming scene. Let's get this backdrop changed first. That's more like her bedroom. Now, I gotta make me less me. Here. Nope. Chuck that. Time for pink. The next scene opens with Rebecca and her father speaking in her room. They're talking about her moving away for college, going to California, and how Dad feels like it might be unsafe for her to do so. He's a dad being worried about his daughter, of course. But I feel like her behavior, plus the outfit she is wearing, is super important. This girl is wearing a very innocent, frilly, pink-looking nightgown. I feel like this is something she's had for a very long time. Her room is also covered in pastel pink. A lot of horse motifs, and a lot of hearts and flowers. We'll get to the flowers later. She's got her hair pulled back, and she's got all the cute little curls coming out around the sides. So it's a very innocent looking setup, design, outfit. She is Daddy's little girl. That is, until she is not so sneakily looking out the window as Dad is walking out of the room because her boyfriend Travis is out in the driveway waiting for her to finish up in the house and meet him in the barn. So as soon as Dad is out of the room, Rebecca rips this super frilly, innocent looking nightgown off to reveal a still pretty modest outfit, but not nearly as modest as what she was wearing before. This exemplifies how she's already hiding who she is to a certain extent, and there's so much more to come. And the skirt is quite a bit shorter than most of the skirts for any other girls around town. This outfit is much more her at this point in her life. Just wait. And it is time to go to California, so let me change another time. In taking the whole family to Cali, we get to see a lot more of how their outfits define who they are. Dad obviously lives in flannels or checkered shirts and his blue jeans. Rebecca's brother Zach is wearing a pastel yellow shirt that reads "Seduce Me." And Connie, Mom, is wearing a bright fuchsia coat. This coat really helps pick them out from a crowd when the whole family is moving through the campus trying to get to Rebecca's room. Mom is also wearing a floral dress, with her hair pushed back by a headband. While she is more noticeable in the crowd, she's still a little more put together than some of the other people throughout the school campus. But we're seeing this fuchsia coat pushed through crowds of gray, brown, and beige, telling everyone to get out of the way because they have these giant boxes to go put in Rebecca's room. This heavily embarrasses Rebecca, and Becca is wearing a pastel pink cardigan, a white blouse, and a reddish floral kind of print skirt. The skirt is a little bit longer, this one more relating to the lengths of skirts that most other girls in her hometown would wear. So her skirt length does stand out against a number of the skirt lengths in California, where the skirts reach up past the fingertip rule. Although Rebecca is wearing some sensible white heels. You can also look at Rebecca's luggage to see that it is different. She's coming in with cardboard boxes and what is pretty much couch print suitcases. Everyone else mostly has solid color suitcases as they're moving in. We finally get to Rebecca's room, and she has tied her pink sweater around her waist because, of course, it's warm. They're moving heavy boxes. Her hair is pulled back in a ponytail to get this kind of work done. We have another couch print bag hanging around her shoulder, and we can already see that her roommate has moved in because one bed is made and one is not. Then Rebecca's roommate comes in a cute little 90s yellow sweater and a plaid wrapped skirt. This skirt is slightly shorter than Rebecca's, but it's still not within the realm of super short that a lot of the other students have. So Mom thinks, oh, what a nice girl, you two are going to be the best of friends. Then the roommate's girlfriend walks in. She introduces her as her girlfriend, but this family does not think of it as dating until these two start making out. And while Mom and the daughter are absolutely shocked, you can see Dad's smile slowly fade away into confusion. However, the son's reaction is he jumps up, reaches over for Dad's camera, and is like, I need to take a picture of this. Based on the community that they're from and the fact that it's the early 90s, they're not going to see as many lesbians in South Dakota. So this is a funny little cultural reference to how much times have changed. Next, Dad starts struggling to get one of Rebecca's trunks open. So he goes to the advisor who lives across the way from Rebecca's room. Dad's super excited that she lives across the hallway from someone who's in charge. But wait!
Hello? Anybody home? Hello? Hey!
Hello, Pauly Shore. We also have his room absolutely covered in neon flowers and twinkly fairy lights. Much more of a common aesthetic now. And this character's bed is not a bed, but a hammock. We already get so much definition of who this character is without him wearing clothes, I think. We don't actually get a proper look at if he is wearing boxers, but our best guess, especially due to Walter's reaction, is that this character is hanging upside down, nude. The only thing we can tell that he is wearing... This character's name is Krull. If you want to know why his name is Krull, you'll have to watch the movie. I'm going to make sure I don't give away too many spoilers, because there are some fun plot twists in here that, even though it's a 90s movie, it'd probably be pretty easy for us to guess what those plot twists are. I'm going to graze over them the best I can. Krull is a super fun-loving, kind, cheerful person. He's very giggly. He is super animated. He is Pauly Shore.
But it's Carl. And I'm the resident advisor.
Oh, shit.
And this makes Walter extremely uncomfortable, and he runs out of that room.
Don't leave me hanging!
Telling Rebecca that she is not allowed to live here because it is not safe to be around that man. Once Rebecca's family leaves, and Rebecca has been there for a few hours, we get to see her swimming through the sea of students who all seem to have a better idea of what's going on, and she still is picked out from the crowd because she is in that bright pastel pink sweater while everybody else is in blacks and grays and browns. A clever choice on the costume department side. And we get to see Krull being the 90s version of a vlogger. This dude walks around with his camera all the frickin' time. He records everything, documents everything, makes little videos for himself, thoroughly enjoys it. I'm right there with you, dude. And he's walking around the school, getting to know the new students, in what would be considered a Japanese bathrobe. It's bright red, it's very eye-catching, and his hair is pretty eye-catching as well. Eventually, Krull makes it to Rebecca's room. He has come to help Jimmy open the trunk, but Rebecca is extremely uncomfortable with this guy who's just wearing a robe and boxers in her room. Especially since he's claiming to be in some sort of authoritarian position. And he's got a video camera hanging around his neck. Why would you think this guy could be in charge? But he has been going to the school for 6 years and has majored in a lot of classes. So he does have a decent idea of what he's doing, even if his exterior does not represent that. In this scene, he asks her what her name is, and every time anyone tells me their name is Rebecca, I can't not hear Pauly Shore go, Becca! I also love the contrast between their two outfits here. Since Krull is wearing red, it works along with her dark red skirt. We have a little piece of Krull's personality already there in Rebecca's side of the screenshot. But she still has her pastel pink top, which says that she is still somewhere mentally in South Dakota, even if her skirt says she has entered California. The next scene puts us with Rebecca calling her boyfriend on the phone. Remember when we had those wall phones for everybody to use? Me neither. She is in a green floral dress and probably can't see it, but I am also in a floral dress, but I am staying warm with Halloween leggings because it is freaking cold in this house. It is actively snowing outside. By this point, Rebecca is wearing a different color than what we've seen her in thus far. With her green floral dress, we get to see what green means quite a bit further into the story, but I will help define it here to make more sense as we go. I like to think of it as Disney's Go Away green. A more recent depiction of this is Bruno wearing that green. Bruno tries to hide in the shadows, and he also feels like he does not belong, and he is wearing green to represent that. Rebecca is wearing green in this scene, and she feels like she does not belong in this school. She's talking on the phone with her boyfriend Travis, telling him how much she wishes she could come home, how much she misses him and everyone else, and she doesn't know if she can stay in California. This is the first outfit we see of Travis's that's not school related. He's at work, so he's wearing a blazer, dress shirt, slacks, dress shoes. Very put together and professional. But his outfits aren't nearly as important until later in the movie, so let's keep moving. We've got her green, and we'll keep an eye on that color. One of the ways that the costume department made sure that their main cast stood out from the rest of the people surrounding the scenes were either the extras were in browns, grays, blacks, or we have a sea of white t-shirts. While in Cali, it feels like almost every single person is in a white t-shirt or tank top for these scenes. They're probably not too far off for Cali in the early 90s, but it does bother me that there's not as much of a difference in characterization for the extras, because that's important too. Although it does help make the main characters stand out, which is the most important part. Moving away from the sea of white t-shirts, we get Becca in a white blouse, and she's staring off into the distance, missing home, pretending that she is studying. Crawl notices her staring off into the distance while he's sitting over at a sign-up table helping students get their paperwork together. He's over here munching on a burrito, and oh wait! Product placement! Coca-Cola! I absolutely love this depiction of Crawl because it defines the color of bubblegum pink for us for the rest of the movie. Crawl is wearing a funny little long-tailed hat and a bright pink sweatshirt. He very much stands out amongst all these other people who are helping with the sign-up sheets who are in blazers and ties. We also see this more alternative looking student in the background, and they come up later and say hi to Crawl and scare the absolute crap out of him. It's actually really interesting to see that those who dress differently, more of an emo or alternative style, Crawl is uncomfortable with. However, he dresses really uniquely, and he still needs to get used to accepting that other people can dress differently too. But now we have another color to look out for, our bubblegum pink. Or I guess you could call it Barbie pink. Either way, I'm gonna call it bubblegum. On to the Halloween party. Our next scene has a cameo of Brendan Fraser. Now remember, this is the early 90s. It's 93, and The Mummy didn't come out until 99. So Brennan wasn't even as big of an actor yet, and he was just getting little jobs here and there, which is why he has a cameo in this movie. He was just there to get paid. But I absolutely love that he steals a frog from Crawl's hat, cooks it with his lighter, munches on it, and walks away. Also, Crawl's dancing girl costume, as I'm going to phrase it, is absolutely iconic. I really do enjoy that they put him in drag for Halloween, giving even more definition to his character and his comfortability with himself. When we move outside of the party room, we have Rebecca trying to make her way through the halls. They're an absolute mess full of students in costumes. I have to greatly thank the costume team for the kind of costumes that they gave the students. They did an amazing job at making it look like these were costumes that the students would have been able to find and put together themselves, while still being very recognizable and pretty iconic costumes. Because we get Rebecca's roommate and her girlfriend dressed as Bo Peep, as well as that half and half male and female costume, which was really well done. Crawl's, I want to say, is the most iconic though. I love it. My favorite, aside from Crawl's though, is this pink, I want to say tooth fairy? The guy dressed as a tooth fairy makes my day, because we get pastel pink that is no longer a representation of innocence, but a party animal. When Rebecca sees this Halloween party in her room, it freaks her out. She runs to the phone and starts calling home. She doesn't want to be there anymore. These are not her type of people, so she thinks. Crawl finds her at the phone and goes, "What are you doing? Why are you leaving the party? Where else would you want to be?" And he stops her from calling home. He makes everyone leave the party room, and it's just the two of them, so that he can explain to her that she might have left South Dakota, but she has not mentally left South Dakota. She is not in California yet. To better make his point, he hands her a photo of him from his freshman year of college. Rebecca looks at the image and starts laughing and says, "Oh my god, you're such a nerd!" Well, I feel like, yeah, sure, nerdy. not nearly as much of a problem these days. Kral explained to her that he started expressing himself through what he wore. He grew out his hair, he wore more colorful clothing, and he started feeling more like himself. Just give me 5 minutes. See if I can change your mind. So, it is montage time! Kral takes Becca out into the streets to go shopping. Again, Rebecca is still wearing very modest clothing. She's got that pink cardigan still, and she's got kind of a grayish brown bland dress. The skirt reaching her knees, keeping her quite modest. And while we do have a little touch of green here for Kral, we're not going to worry about it because it's not a super bright green, and this outfit for him is not nearly as important to the story. While I do think that the heavily patterned pants is so much more relating to his character as well as the flowing scarf. So Kral has Becca pose for one last photo before she becomes the California version of herself. Rebecca comes out of that store wearing the tiniest little red dress. It is the shortest thing we have seen her in thus far, and it's got the hardware down the center front, which puts a little more of an edge to it while she's still got her little gold locket, just a little piece of where she came from. However, the rest of her old clothes gets chunked in the trash, and before they leave that area of the shopping mall, a woman walks past with bright blonde hair, and Rebecca goes, "Oh, I want her hair!" So it wasn't like Kral was forcing her to do this stuff. It was so much more that he was handing her a permission slip because he could tell this was so much more of who she was. And now that she's gotten a new haircut, it looks like I'm gonna need a wig. Be right back. This wig is about as close as I'm going to get to her hairstyle for what I have in my collection. It was a thrift store wig that was only about $6, so we're going to work with what we got. Our next scene opens with Rebecca rollerblading with Kral, and we get a slow pan up from bottom to top of what her new outfit looks like. We've got black stretch velvet shorts, a purple flowy top, and bright blonde hair. What I most love about this is that she is smiling and leading the charge. She is encouraging Kral to follow her down the hill. With Rebecca having her newfound confidence, she and Kral regularly go shopping together. On one of these shopping excursions, they walk past a tattoo parlor, and Rebecca gets super excited, but Kral not so much. In my screenshot before they actually go into the tattoo parlor, you can see that Rebecca's got a really low cut top, small shorts, and she has adopted Kral's love of scarves, wrapping it around her waist. And Kral is wearing a purple fuzzy vest, ripped up shorts, and you can see his zebra striped boxers through all of the holes on his shorts. I have a very strong feeling that Kral actually alters a lot of his own clothing, but we'll get to more of that later on. Our next cameo of the movie, the tattoo artist is actually played by Flea, the musician. And this is Rebecca telling him she wants something feminine. Kral is over in the corner going, "No! Tattoos are permanent and they sink into your skin and make you crazy." They don't actually, Kral, it's okay. Some inks are bad for you, but especially nowadays in the 2020s, we have better tattoo inks. But Kral is extra judgmental of this tattoo artist, who is a little odd, but Kral is too, so get yourself together, Kral. Don't be so judgmental of other people when you yourself are a little odd. Then we go to the beach where we find that Rebecca has gotten a little butterfly tattoo by her ankle. The camera moves up and we get to see that Kral is in brightly colored tropical print shorts with pom-poms along the hem, and I absolutely love them. Then Rebecca is wearing a leopard print bikini, while she is actually quite covered, even compared to a number of the other girls in bikinis on the beach, which helps define that she doesn't show off absolutely everything as who she is as a person. We still have a lot more skin showing than what she was in South Dakota. I'm sure largely because heat on the beach. We move to the next scene where Kral has taken Rebecca to a mud wrestling bar, I guess is what I'm going to call it. Kroll absolutely loves watching these mud wrestling matches between women. And Rebecca thinks, you know what? Goes up to the announcer, asks if Kroll can be part of this action. Also, we get Becca with more coverage in this scene, a sparkly, sheer, flowy top. And Kroll gets up in his Where's Waldo tank top, bright orange shorts, thinks he's gonna have a blast, when actually we get our next version of Pastel Pink. The wrestler that he is going to be fighting is called Thumper, and she is a pastel pink bunny who kicks his ass. Pastel Pink is no longer for the faint of heart. And while this is not costume related, I love this screenshot. I have to give major applause to the set and film crew for this shot. In this image, we have up at the top right corner a picture of Rebecca with her boyfriend Travis. She's wearing a dress very much like the one I was just wearing, and Travis is in his blazer and dress shirt, but then we move down to the far bottom left corner, completely opposite from the picture of her boyfriend, and we have images of Rebecca and Kroll. The interesting part is Rebecca doesn't have pictures of her and Kroll together yet, even though they're besties, so we need to get a picture of these two together, especially since Kroll documents absolutely everything. But what we do have is the image of Rebecca just before the clothing montage, as well as hair, and the image of Kroll just before his montage. It's one part of her life to the next on completely opposite corners of this drawer, as well as the little pastel pink items she's got and the horse motifs that are still there. Because some parts of her she's finally released out into the open, but there are still other parts of her that are still there from when she was in South Dakota. Everybody's getting ready to leave for Thanksgiving break, so roommates are giving hugs. We've got Rebecca in her floral again, but a very different kind of floral. It's got a black base. We've got bright pink flowers. Who's bright pink? Kroll! And don't forget, more product placement. Coca-Cola! Rebecca gets a phone call from home. Travis is asking her how soon she'll be home for the Thanksgiving break. And she's leaning against the wall again, but on the opposite end of the phones. And everything further away, the side that she used to stand on, is blurred. So well done. Maybe I am overanalyzing a dumb 90s comedy, but let me have my fun. Rebecca is too busy interacting with everybody walking by to really properly talk to Travis. And then Kroll walks into shot. And he's wearing what he calls his Steven Tyler PJs. I love him so much. I want him to be my friend. He's also wearing a pilgrim hat, and he's such a nut. Before leaving, Rebecca talks to Kroll and finds out that he's going to be at the school alone for Thanksgiving because he doesn't have any family to go home to. No one that accepts him anyway. So she calls up her family and says, hey, can I bring a friend home for Thanksgiving? They're going to be all alone if I don't. And her family's like, yeah, sure, bring your bestie over. We're good. You people have no idea what you're getting into. Next scene. We open at the airport, and everybody who is from South Dakota is lined up to greet Rebecca. Dad's living in his checkered shirts and jeans. Connie is in a bright blue coat. You've got Zach in his stripedy shirt, and Travis is wearing his high school Letterman jacket. This is Thanksgiving break. They graduated months ago. We've already had summer vacation. They've gotten past Halloween. We're nearing Christmas, and this man still lives in his high school football jacket. If that doesn't say peaked in high school through costume, I don't know what does. And now it is time for Rebecca to give her family the big reveal, because she chooses her most outrageous outfit to greet her family at the airport. Let me show you. This girl gets off the plane wearing a sheer mesh top with her bra showing. teeny tiny shorts. They're not as teeny tiny as they could be. I'll give her that. Purple tights and black sandals. Oh, and don't forget that classy black coat with all of the leopard print trim. Plus, her hair is a different length and color than what her family recognizes. She told them nothing about this transformation, and their jaws hit the floor when she gets off the plane and does a little spin and goes, "Check it!" She is so freaking excited to share her new look with her family, but her family not so much. Then Krull gets off the plane. And while we can't see his shirt quite well, you do see it peeking out from underneath his jacket, and it is a bright, recognizable green. He is in South Dakota, and he is a Cali man. He does not belong there, so we've got him in some very obvious green instead of the kind of dull army green that we were seeing before in other images. His combat boots are also green. And his outfit looks very shaggy, but make it 90s. He just has more hair. And he gets off the plane holding that camera and trying to get a shot of the family's reaction to Rebecca's new look. Because he's also very proud of Rebecca for releasing her inner beast and becoming her own self through fashion. Now we get to the point where I really think in universe, this character is expected to have altered his own clothing. Because with this jacket, there are a whole bunch of individual little patches that aren't fully tacked on. It's a whole bunch of fabric that is scrapped together all over his jacket. And we see later on there's more of those similar scrap patches that come up later in his clothes. When we get to the family's house, Krull is unbelievably excited.
Little America.
He's handing other people the camera and wanting them to enjoy his enjoyment of this new experience. He is dancing around, being a goof, and I love him so much. He's so positive, but then he keeps apologizing to the family when he realizes he's making them uncomfortable. So he knows that he can be a lot. And for Pappy, while he's not the biggest fan of Rebecca's new outfit, all he says is, "I hardly recognized you, Shortcake. What did they do to you?" And then he's fine with her new outfits throughout the rest of the movie. He doesn't really care. And I had to include this image partially so that you could see more of the patches on Krull's jacket, but also because this image perfectly defines how the family feels when Krull is entering their home. Mom is trying to be as nice as possible, but she's very uncomfortable. Dad is absolutely done with this situation and wants Krull out. And the son, Zach, is like, "I am not staying in this room anymore. Get me away from him." But then Krull is placed in Zach's room for sleeping over. When one of the cows gets out and Rebecca's still in this sheer mesh top, you can see her working with the animals, and she's still her to some extent. She still has that personality of the farm girl, even if she's dressed differently. She is solely expressing her colorfulness on the outside now. And we're gonna skip over a couple of scenes to avoid any serious spoilers. We're on to Krull's new shopping montage because he wants to get some rustic wear. Rebecca takes him to one of the stores on Main Street and they go shopping. He is grabbing every single freaking cowboy hat he can find. And he keeps telling her he needs more stuff and she's like, "No, you don't. Go change. Go figure out what fits you. Go." I love Krull. He's a hoot. While Rebecca is waiting for Krull to finish up in the changing room, one of her friends from school comes down the stairs. And her friend is wearing bubblegum pink pants. This character is a more colorful character in that she already was expressing herself through her clothing before Rebecca had her transformation. Her design is still a little more dumbed down than what Rebecca's wearing at the moment because this girl from school, Tracy, is still more within that circle of the South Dakota clothing style. Moving on to the dinner scene, we get Rebecca in a beautiful gold flowy top. She loves her flowy tops, and I love them too, with the bell sleeves. I love the bell sleeves. I need to make myself some of these tops because they are absolutely adorable and fit my aesthetic very well. but her black dress is quite short. And this gold helps her stand out against a bunch of the other people in the room who are wearing more of light blues and grays. And now I can finally get out of this because I feel so uncomfortable. This is not my aesthetic and I feel naked. I am now going to be emulating Crawl, which is so much more my thing. I will be right back and we will unveil what Crawl is dressed like for this dinner night. Howdy, y'all! You can bet your boots I had a pink cowgirl outfit. And yes, I grew up in Texas. I do have a southern accent when I get angry, but I won't continue talking in the southern accent here. Let's continue with the story. When Crawl walks in, picture it. A room full of people in grays, browns, whites, beiges. You got that one sleeve of blue down in the corner, but ignore that. And in comes this person wearing cropped ankle cowboy boots that are red and black, purple scrunchy socks, purple workout bike shorts, underneath cut-off overalls, his green mesh shirt, and that patchwork jacket. Now those overalls have those patchwork pieces on them too, which means he's likely the one to have done it because how likely would it be that they were selling colorful patchwork overalls at that store? He also very likely made his overalls cutoffs, which makes me love his characters so much more. And don't forget his cute little cowboy hat. Crawl did this weird conglomeration of an outfit because he said he wanted to take his style and the cowboy style and interweave them together. And this is what we got because he's a goofball. Now, again, I'm going to skip over some stuff so that I don't give away any huge plot points outside of mostly costume-related things. What I will say is that Becca's boyfriend Travis is being overly pushy and demanding, so Crawl stood up for her. And Travis did not like that and storms out of the room. Rebecca follows Travis, and then Crawl follows soon after. While Rebecca and Travis are talking, Crawl comes in and goes, "Hey man, I know you're upset. I could understand why. Let's talk it out." Another reason why I love this character. He's so good about being empathetic towards other people, and he's very caring. He wasn't a complete jerk when he stood up for Rebecca. He simply made his stance on the situation known. And even though Crawl was being super nice and respectful, Travis, being who Travis is, punched Crawl in the face. But also because of who Crawl is, instead of fighting back, Crawl laid on the floor crying because he thought his nose was broken. Don't worry, Crawl will get payback. The next morning, we see Crawl sleeping in a very colorful robe just before he's woken up to start on farm duty. And once we get him outside, he's got those patchwork overalls again, but now he's got a rainbow, mostly pink tie-dye hoodie underneath it, that cute little white cowboy hat, and gray sweatpants along with those cropped cowboy boots. Especially in comparison to the other farm workers, he stands out like a sore thumb, and I love it. He even has a matching pink scrunchie to pull back his hair while he's working. And it wouldn't be Crawl without some sort of scarf, so he's got that little purple bandana hanging off of his cut-off overalls. When Crawl comes inside after a full morning of being tortured by the other farm worker, he's a hot mess. His outfit is covered in dirt and grime, he's all beat up, and Rebecca's really worried about him. Rebecca's wearing high-waisted light wash jeans and a flowy red top. And keep an eye on Mom's sweater here because Rebecca's wearing it later. It's really interesting to go through the movie again, scene by scene, and see how often they reuse costumes, especially in a way that it makes sense for the characters. So we'll see more of that in a bit. Crawl told Rebecca he was fine, and it's his first day. Don't worry about it, he's got this. What he said was he needs to figure out his groove. And everybody's like, a groove for farming? Who has a groove for farming? But most definitely Crawl does. He figures out his way of doing things and does an amazing job at fixing all of the mistakes that he had on his first day. And finally, we get to the peak reason why Krull is so good at encouraging people to be themselves and to give them a permission slip to express themselves. We get this scene with him talking with Connie. She had just gotten out of the shower, she was still wrapped in a towel, and he happened to see her because she left the door open. But he tells her that she's absolutely beautiful. She's not old. He explains to her that all the ladies in Cali don't even act old until they're senile.
Why don't you, put a little makeup on?
And he tells her that they need to take some of her inner beauty and make it her outer beauty. She doesn't believe that that's possible until he mentions his 5-minute rule. With Rebecca, he told her, just give me 5 minutes. See if I can change your mind. Did the same thing with Connie and stood outside the bathroom door going, just give me 5 minutes. If you don't like it, you can go back to the same old Connie. Please. Connie opens that door and smiles, and Krull goes, hey. So they go digging through Connie's closet, and the very first bag of clothes that Krull picks out, the very first piece of clothing he pulls is this bright fuchsia top. Connie is even standing there in the mirror wearing a pastel pink robe. Pink has become the color of rebellion in this movie. Since Connie and Krull told everybody that they would meet them at the party, the rest of the family heads downstairs to go out, and we see Rebecca wearing Krull's red Japanese robe. Again, we're reusing costumes where it makes sense, because if both Krull and Rebecca didn't bring all of their clothes with them to South Dakota, it would make sense for them to share some clothes as well as borrow clothes from the family. Also, keeping the costuming pretty cheap for the costume department is helpful in filming. We get to the party, and it's a lot more colorful than usual. We do have some people in pinks and reds and brighter blues to show everybody's having a good time. Krull walks in ahead of Connie and tries to put her on display. Doesn't work so well, she's hiding behind the doors. But we will look at Krull's outfit because he's fun here. Bluish violet pants, but they're striped up to about shorts length. And then you have the white buttons along the crotch, a belt, a purple mesh shirt, and then some sort of, I want to say, Native American style rainbow vest. There are some patterns in there that would suggest a feather headdress, and I'm guessing that's what they're going for, especially since he's trying to get his rustic wear on. And then of course he's got his scarf tied around his head, along with those cropped cowboy boots again, because while I think they are not that attractive, he absolutely loves them. Almost everyone in the room slows down or completely stops dancing when Connie walks in. Very Cinderella. Walter again is living in his flannel shirts. Rebecca is now in a red dress with lace sleeves and black tights. She's a little more covered than she has been in other parts of the movie. I feel like that's probably because she's been home longer and it's reintegrating that she covers up just a little bit more. And we see Connie. She has that bright fuchsia top that is a halter top and accentuates her breasts very nicely, as well as her waist. That thing cinches her in. It feels like it's corseted. And she's wearing a purple skirt with a whole bunch of rainbow colors along the bottom. Kind of a napkin hem situation, but I think there are extra pieces added to it where she has a lot of flow and essentially tails hanging out around the bottom of the skirt. Of course, Krull's being an absolute nut behind her, and we love him. Rebecca is absolutely ecstatic. She loves seeing her mom like this. Walter is avoiding the situation for a moment. Connie comes up to Walter and asks him if he likes the outfit. You can now see her updo with one of Krull's iconic scarves tied around her head. And she's got these large, chunky star earrings with chain danglies. I need some of those. I need to make myself some of those. Those are awesome. Before Walter can answer if he likes the outfit, a younger man comes up and asks Connie to dance. Walter's like, hell no, get out of here, and takes his wife by the arm and takes her out to the dance floor, telling her he thinks he actually likes the outfit a lot. Rebecca walks up to Krull with a huge smile, and Krull goes, So, you likes? And Rebecca's like, yeah, I likes. As the scene progresses, of course, Krull takes over the party, and everybody gets to actually have a little bit of fun. Again, we've got pastel pink, and it is now a rebellious color. They end the evening with going home, and Mom walks into the bedroom wearing a very wedding dress-esque nightgown. And you can see Walter inviting her over to bed. However, if you look at the beds, there are two of them. He had to physically push one of their beds from the opposite corner of the room for them to be together. When I saw this movie when I was probably about 7 or 8 for the very first time, even I knew that that was not okay. Why are you not in a bed together as a couple? That just did not make sense in my brain. Because even at about 8 years old, I knew that in something like I Love Lucy, they had to keep the beds separate for the TV show because of the requirements of film back then. By the 90s, this was not a requirement, which meant that this was a tool to show how terrible their marriage had been. They were sleeping on completely opposite sides of the room from each other. Finally, Krull comes in and gets Connie to start better expressing herself, and now they're together again. Thank you, Krull. Marriage counselor since '93. In the morning, Connie is in her pastel pink robe, and Walter's getting a little gropey. Connie shows that in the morning, even if she's not all dressed up like she had been the night before, she can still have that vibrant, playful energy, and I love it! It drives me insane when people say they're too old for something, especially when it's just clothes. As a cosplayer, I have a lot of old people tell me they wish they could cosplay like I do, but they're too old. No, I do not believe that age dictates any kind of clothing that you put on your body. And while people tell me that I'm going to understand when I get older, that's not the case, because I have believed ever since I was very little that you can wear whatever the F you want, no matter what age you are. And if Krull needs to give you a permission slip, here it is. Connie can do it, so can you. That morning, Walter is getting ready to go fishing with Zach and his father. Krull is sitting on the counter asking if he can go with them. And if you notice, he's wearing green again. Krull is still kind of out of place in this situation, but it is a darker green, so it's not as noticeable that he's out of place. Although Walter doesn't really want to take him, Connie talks him into it, and Krull goes fishing with the guys. Although Krull isn't very good at fishing because he puts all the fish back when he feels bad for them. Krull and the guys have a heart-to-heart, have a bonding moment, and then they head back home, where Krull and Rebecca get back together to have a little conversation, where you see Rebecca wearing Mom's sweater, and Krull in his silly little fishing gear outfit with all the danglies hanging from every which direction. A couple scenes later, we see Rebecca in that flowy red top again, but she has the pink jacket on over. It's more coral, but it's still giving that lighter pink that she was known for wearing in the beginning of the movie. A big misunderstanding happens because it's a 90s comedy, and Krull is forced to leave. Look what color he's wearing as he's getting ready to go. Bright green. You know that this dude's wearing green this time. It's not a super dark forest green that might be black. It's fluorescent. Then we get a small scene that is my mom's absolute favorite as for how metaphors go in this movie. Rebecca is spinning herself around in a swing, upset that there was this misunderstanding between her and Krull. Travis is standing there talking to her, in his Letterman jacket, I might add. Peaked in high school. Rebecca keeps spinning and spinning, saying, I thought I knew Krull. I thought I understood who he was, but I just don't know anymore. So Travis reaches out and stops her spinning. Very aggressively, I might add. He reaches out and grabs the swing and yanks her back towards him and tells her that she shouldn't trust Krull anymore and that she needs to stay home with him. The defining thought of her spinning herself around, trying to figure out which way to go, and then Travis suddenly stops her and tells her what to do. So defining for these two characters. Very well done. They worked way too hard on this 90s comedy. Instead of letting Kroll leave, Rebecca's friend Tracy from school talks him into coming back so that he and the whole family can make up. We get to Thanksgiving dinner, and Rebecca is wearing a very pretty purple velvet top. I want this top. Kroll is able to explain that everything that happened was a misunderstanding, and then he gets his payback against Travis. He majored in karate for 2 semesters. I think this is my favorite screenshot out of all of them. And those are the costumes throughout Son-in-Law. Just like this movie was a permission slip for me to wear crazy, silly outfits, I hope that my videos, specifically this one, but also all of my other content, could be a permission slip for you to be unique and dress the way you want to and not care what other people think. I know it's easier said than done because I still have to deal with a whole bunch of crap in the comments section. But I'm learning to get over other people's opinions because I want to be me. And whether that means dressing like a crazy person or dressing a little more comfortably, I framed it correctly. Yes! Doctor Strange, not part of this theme. Let's get changed, shall we? Either way, as long as you're displaying you in your clothing, I love you all, you amazing little weirdos. And if you've made it this far into the video, please remember those subs, comms, thumbs, and a ding. I greatly appreciate you spending your time with me here, and welcome to the madness. There's a hair stuck in my sleeve. Oh, lords and ladies, please put your hands together. Okay. Take the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff off. Or not, it's very stuck. And my phone went off, so I'm gonna check it. I'm not wearing my glasses, I can't see anything.
People just keep texting me.
I told you all I was filming today. Yep, everybody just keeps texting me. Okay, let's try filming. Let's see if I can finish filming this, shall we? Without any more interruptions. Crowley.